Sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. I just start it. And this pen is what I use to tell myself to stop the conversation, stop what I'm saying, and start over. And it's the way of editing that I learned. And I like it a lot because you barely move and you barely change expression, and it is something that allows your look to be clean and good, and it's very important to me. So you're going to see me tackle some subjects that are difficult and are going to be controversial, and all I'm asking is that you open your minds, and we're not trying to tell you to be someone different. I love you for who you are. I want you to be happy, and I want you to be empowered in a way that you feel confident and good. It's important to me that you feel good, because I want you to love your neighbor. My neighbors are wonderful people. Their dogs bark at me like I'm trying to steal their house or something. I don't know. And I feel for the pup. And then they've got another one. And it's nice when it's by itself. But when the other dog is out there, it's just on constantly. All of them, both of them, that is. It makes it hard. I can't really use my backyard because I don't want to be barked at constantly. But I love my neighbor. I'm not talking about biblically. I love my neighbor because my neighbors are good people. They're Republican, they're Christian, and they're really good people. They represent both Republican folks and Christianity the right way. And they're raising their daughters, and I raise daughters, and sometimes when I'm on the porch or outside, barely, I hear them interacting, and it makes my heart swell, because I remember that age, when my girls were that age. I remember that time when you have to say certain things, and you're like, did I actually have to say that? I can't believe I just had to say that. But the fact is, politically we're different, and I think he heard me talking to a friend of mine, and I've heard him many times talk to his friends in the backyard, and now he doesn't talk to me anymore, and I feel a loss. I feel a loss because I know he's a good guy, and I love him for being a good guy. So I'm just going to keep on doing that. That's all I can do, right? Because if I were to go over there and be like, okay, first I have your dog barking at me constantly, and now you don't even talk to me or wave. That's not useful. That doesn't solve anything. I just have to keep on loving. Give love. It's free. There's more. As soon as I give all my love, I have more love. As soon as I give all of my heart, I have more. It's endless, and I will always give it. It's the first thing I give. It's also the last thing I give. And in between, guess what? I give that too. It's all I have. I do love people, and I don't care who they worship. I don't care what they believe in. It's not that I don't care, but I don't accept them as, well, this is this person, so therefore they're like this, Yeah. Remember this. I got off track again. ADD, baby. I imagine a future where the right kills a lot of us. A lot. Sometimes I feel like they're gonna give the order, and it's just gonna happen. I hope it doesn't happen. And whatever comes next, we're all still going to be there. So we might as well get along. No. Fuck that. We might as well thrive. I'm not perfect. I'm doing something else. Look, I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. I try to be perfect, but I'm not. I feel like it's probably true for everyone, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be held to that level. That would be very difficult for me. As a person with ADD, I'm struggling to get by anyway. But I worked with a gentleman who had not only ADD, but he was dyslexic. And he was able to do things at such a high level. Man, he just always impressed me so very much. So I'm not going to make excuses. My ADD is something that I have to work through. My ADD is something I have to overcome in order to do the things that I want to do. And my ADD is without the H. And if man, could I have that? That'd be cool. Can I get a little hyper in there? I don't get that. But I do get the ADD portion. So I tend to be all over the place at times. But the most important thing is, it doesn't define me. It doesn't get to. It doesn't get to choose who I am. I'm responsible for who I am. I'm responsible for my mistakes. I'm responsible for my life. No one else. I don't get to blame anyone. I don't get to pretend that I'm not at fault, because I know deep down that I am, and I have to own it and go forward. That's all I can do. Own it and go forward. I want to talk about gambling. I recently freed myself with a boot in the ass from my wife. I recently freed myself from gambling. Gambling had a fix on me. It had a hold on me. And it was something where the lights, the sounds, the all the stuff that goes with it, the ambiance, I could feel my heart rate go dum 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 dum. And I could see that as I'm looking at these slot machines, I'm just looking at them, like staring into them, expecting that, of course, this next time would work. Not being afraid to bet big because I want to win big. It was a sickness, and it ruined my life in a lot of ways. Not in my heart, not in my soul, but just the ability to do things. It was crippling, and I am right now digging out from the worst place in my life. I am right now digging out and moving forward. Today is my start date for Timor Omnis Besto, because it's important to me to live by that motto. Dread not. Let no fear be with you. Sure, shot the dude's head off way back in time. That sucks. But the motto itself, don't be afraid, is what I hold on to. My family, McNabb, comes from the name son of the abbot. We come from abbots who were allowed to have children in Scotland way back when, in a certain area of Scotland. I got lucky, I guess. But we come from there, and somewhere before then, right? I mean, we don't all just pop up in Scotland or wherever we are, they didn't just scatter where you're born. Like it's not uploading like in a game. Generations pass. People pass. People move forward. And you don't hear anybody saying, you know what? Let's get some leeches out, clean out your blood real quick, and you should be fine. But we just were grasping at straws back then, because I want to talk about science for a little bit. So people use leeches in science to clean blood. Now there's something to that, just a little bit. But overall, not a good idea. Probably not useful. But leeches, which are gross, they're not gross. They're just doing their job. Don't hate on leeches. But leeches were medicine at that point. And when you think about it, if anybody went back in time and was like, what are you doing, leeches? You know, it would be like, of course we're using leeches. What are you, crazy? This is the best technology we have. So I say to you this. If you want to not believe in science, you should probably not believe in any science. Because if you don't believe in vaccines, because it's science, if you don't believe in whatever it is scientifically that you don't believe in, because it's science, then maybe you shouldn't drive a car. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't have clothes that are made from machines. Or maybe you shouldn't have cell phones, because that's science. Maybe you shouldn't put a rocket in space. Maybe you shouldn't, let's see what else. Everything. Maybe you shouldn't everything, because it's all science. And you can either live with nothing, and I think a lot of people are very happy living like that, because there's goodness to that. Or accept that science is it's ever changing and is constantly improving and is constantly getting better, because the whole idea of science is prove it. Prove it to me that this is true. Prove it, and then I'll believe you. But if someone says something from somewhere else that disagrees with that and shoots it to shit, then you have to be like, well, I guess I fucked up. Or we're on something, but we're not quite there. That's science. Constantly asking questions, constantly seeking more knowledge, constantly testing and retesting and testing to make even a hypothesis. Before you can have a hypothesis, before you can have a hypothesis, you have to start with a concept and a theory and test it, and then eventually you have a hypothesis, and then it becomes something where it can be considered a scientific fact at that point. That's how science works. I'm not telling you that believing in a God is any less important. It is not less important. Your spirituality, whatever form it may be in, is important for overall well-being and health. But to exclude science is to dig a hole and put your head in it. Might as well do that. It doesn't make sense. Your toothbrush was built by science. Everything that we have around us, don't use the internet, that's science. So maybe there's a way to balance religion with your understanding of science. And not by praying for a scientist or for a doctor to be successful in what they do. They went to medical school and they were trained, they went through that schooling to be able to save your life. So thank the science And then thank God. Thank God that he went, or she went, or they went to this school and studied and did the work to be able to open up your head, do surgery in your brain, close up your head, monitor you on the way through as far as healing, test it, look at it a couple times for a while, and then move on. Like, wow, that's so cool. They're doing the scientific process. So you have to give a little props. It can't just all be God. It can't just all be attributed to God, because that person did the work. Give them a little credit.